Hello there and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast with your host as always, Kyle McLemore. Now before we get too far along in the pod, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Definitely helps the show stay alive. Go ahead and punch that like and subscribe, slap that bell so you get all the notifications. It helps the show stay alive, and we appreciate it here at MomsGarageStudios. How you guys doing? Hey, how you doing over there? I'm doing good, as you notice. If you see my old torn up ratty sweatshirt and my fingerless gloves, then you know it's workout time. And what a perfect time to be working out with Creed 3 right there on the horizon. Before we talk about that, can we talk about fingerless gloves and how they're probably the coolest thing ever? And also, like, not only are they the coolest thing to wear, there's also basically no reason to ever wear these. It's a real catch-22 with fingerless gloves. I think I have a clear image of the first time I ever noticed fingerless gloves and thought that they were the coolest thing to ever exist. I can't remember the specific book, but I remember the cover art on the book. One of the main characters in the book had fingerless gloves, and on the cover they were posing or whatever, and I just remember being like, what are those? Like, that is unbelievably cool. And I remember that is all I ever wanted as a young kid was some fingerless gloves, man. Like, man, how cool are fingerless gloves? But once you come to the realization that there's no reason, unless you're actually lifting weights, why are you wearing these? Unless you're Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the Fast and the Furious movies, he's always rocking the fingerless gloves. So unless you're The Rock, basically no need to ever wear these without looking real douchey. Unless you are physically lifting weights, then it's all right, you get a pass. Which I think is why I like wearing them when I work out, because it's I do use dumbbells or whatever, which stops the calluses from my hands, but I also, when I go doing cardio or whatever, I'll stop and do some push-ups, and I like to do my knuckles on the ground. So instead of doing skin to concrete, I wear these so it protects my hands. And it also looks cool. And it helps too when I'm walking my dog. That way oh man. I never realized this till now, but yeah, it really does make an effect, because this is all torn out from holding my dog leash from her just pulling on it. This side's perfectly fine, but this one's all ripped to shreds. No, but anyway, I've been working out, and what a time to be working out with, like I said, Creed 3, ding, ding, on the horizon there. So I've been watching Creed 1 and 2 to get all caught up and in preparation for 3. And man, I forgot how enjoyable those movies are. For whatever reason, maybe because it's been a while. I want to say number 1 came out in 2015, so it's rocking 8 years or so, and I probably haven't seen it since watching it the first time, so it's been a minute, but it is very enjoyable. And then I'd say that 2 even goes even better. I'm only halfway through. Again, I have seen it before, I just don't really remember it too well, because I think I only saw it once in theaters, but rewatching it, and goddamn, Dolph Lundgren is so fucking cool, dude. And it's so cool that he basically doesn't have to have any lines in the movie. It's just and that's Dolph Lundgren the whole time, just scowling and just well, there's a part where he's talking about his son. He's all he knows is this. It's oh shit. Well, goddamn. Yeah, and then anytime they show the Russian fucking running in blown out Russia, and he's just stacking pallets, and it's just oh, cool, man, old school fucking no gym kind of workout. That's what I'm into. Fuck yeah. And then yeah, it really I don't think I appreciated it on my first viewing, but I gotta look up his name or whatever. But the dude that plays like Drago Jr., fucking Drago's son, holy Christ, is that guy huge as shit. He's basically the size of the Mountain from Game of Thrones, only younger. But, you know, it really puts it in perspective because, like, anytime he's standing next to Dolph Lundgren, it's like he makes Dolph Lundgren look like a withered old, like, the height difference is crazy. Like, I'm Dolph Lundgren, and this dude's, like, standing next to him like this, which is crazy because Dolph Lundgren in real life is tall as shit. I think he's like, he's 100% over 6 foot. He's like 6 something for sure. So for the dude that's playing his son to be like towering over Dolph Lundgren, like, holy fuck, this guy's big as shit. And then when they do the side-by-sides with like Creed and other Drago, fucking Michael B's like up to his belly button, just like, let's do this. Yeah, so working through Creed 1 and 2 right now, about halfway through number 2. Looking forward to the Thrace. Not only does it look entertaining, but I'm very, very interested in watching it through the eyes of like a directorial kind of vision or whatever, because it is Michael B's directorial debut, so it will be cool to see him in control of like everything, like directing the whole movie, so it'll be very interesting. As far as like, you know, story or whatever, it looks cool. I love that tag in the trailer, like, there's no enemy like the past. Fucking yeah. And then Jonathan Majors, holy Nike, that dude is shredded. Shredsville. He looks like he's also like, whenever they filmed that fight scene, they probably dehydrated the shit out of him, because he's just like fucking, looks like he got vacuum sealed with all his fucking muscles just like popping. It's just like, god damn. And you know what's funny is that he was in Ant-Man, and I remember thinking, like, because, you know, the trailers are, the release date's pretty similar. I think they're only like a week or two away from each other, Ant-Man and Creed. So there was a lot of like simultaneous promoting going on. And I remember when I was watching Ant-Man thinking, like, they really cover up Jonathan Majors. Like, Kane's outfit is very, like, you know, head to toe covered. And he's also got like, it's very like armored and kind of like got like a cape and like multiple layers, so it's like you don't really get to see a lot of physique. And I remember thinking like, if I was Jonathan Majors, I'd be a little bit like, ooh, like, I just worked out. Like, you would not, have you seen that Creed trailer? Do you see how shredded I am? And you're gonna cover me up for the entire Ant-Man movie? Like, no, dude. Put it in my contract that there has to be at least one scene where my clothes get blown off or something. Give me the Thor thing where it's like, even in the last Thor movie, it's like, he's basically like, Thor's costume is like head to toe, pretty covered. I mean, you get like some bicep action, but then there's like that scene where it's like, hey, I'm Chris Hemsworth, and I did not suffer and torture myself for this fucking shredded body to be covered up in my Thor costume. No, you better have a scene in that movie where I'm showing off. And I think that was a part in Ant-Man. There's a part where like Kane is like trying to do something, like the machine explodes and he's like, blah, and like it perfectly blows off like his sleeve part of his costume. So he's just like, gets up and like, oh man, my costume, what did you do to it? Oh shit, you blew off my sleeve there. Oh no. But yeah, I'm glad that he got one scene in Ant-Man to show off his shreddedness. But yeah, Creed 3 looking very cool. I just can't help myself to want Mr. T to show up, right? Like you have to throw Mr. T in there a little bit, like just have him pass by in the background, like a bit of the fool, like something. Because I mean, Creed 3, Rocky 3, where did Mr. T show up? Rocky 3. We had Dolph Lundgren show up. The whole thing is about Apollo Creed. Who's the only other nemesis? Because it's not Tommy the Gun from that piece of shit Rocky 5. Does anybody remember Rocky 5 and how terrible that is? Tommy the Machine Gun or whatever his, like, I think his name was just like Tommy the Gun. So lame, dude. It ends with like a really whack street fight at the end. I just remember there being like this really shaky cam, like zoomed in on like Rocky's son's face, just like, come on, Dad, you can do it. And it's all shaky and intense. Oh, and then speaking of his son, it's kind of weird that he's just like 100% written out of like the Creed version of Rocky. Like, I think there's like one part where he's like, hey, yo, Adrian, she's still dead. Polly, he's pretty dead too. Hey, Rock, how's your son doing? Yeah, he's, I don't know, he lives in New Jersey or something. We don't really talk. Like, even when Rocky, like, is it a spoiler alert at this time? Rocky gets cancer in Creed 1. Even when he's got cancer and he's, like, fighting chemo and, like, fighting for his life, you would think that the son would pop in and just be like, hey, Pops, how's it going, I'm still your blood relative, but it's like, nah, no son in this one. Ever since he was kind of like a douchey kid in 5, and then in Rocky 6, like he's like a businessman or something. He's just like, Dad, I don't want you to fight. You're fucking 90. Why are you fighting? But yeah, I've been working out to that. Been rocking that Creed soundtrack whenever I work out because it's fire. Oh man, those like soundtracks. So I'm just telling you, anytime it's like the Russian workouts, it's just like, just this fucking like no gym, just like hammering shit on the street, and then he's just like running up to a random like fucking structure and just fucking doing pull-ups, and it's like, oh fucking yeah, old school style, baby. So we got Creed 3 coming out soon, and I can't wait. We could probably wrap it and slap it right there before we start rambling too long. I'm gonna go hit the showers. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the In Between Podcast. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. If you haven't already, hey, what you doing? Hit that like and subscribe already. It helps the show, helps us stay alive here, and we appreciate it. I am your host, as always, Kyle McLemore, and we'll see you next time on the pod. Ding, ding.